kilometers of distance.
It is important that all democratic nations work together on this and ensure it does not end up in wrong hands.
Welcome back, and now cryptocurrency, the cryptic trouble. Because there are two entities, if we don't know who these two entities are, who are trading, transacting, etc., on a currency which has no form, which cannot be seen, which cannot be perceived, which cannot be touched, and it cannot be monitored, the origin. How do you regulate this? Why is it a cat and mouse game, ladies and gentlemen? Let's try and understand this entire cryptocurrency game. Why it's a cat and mouse game? It's electronic, peer-to-peer, fully decentralized system, cash system. But there's no cash, hard cash per se. It's a zero link to any sovereign authority. Technology is the only driver. That's how cryptocurrency has been seen, or it's been envisioned. But can it actually function like this? It allows anonymous funding, hugely susceptible to misuse. It's on trust that eventually good will prevail. But then by then, how much bad could happen? Nations could be destroyed. Societies could be forever damaged. Heightened investment bubble risk, like Ponzi schemes, which are already existing. And money put into the system vanishes. Huge stakes, criminality overtones, until it is regulated. Why it's a huge cat and mouse game. Now let's try and understand why it could also be a huge security threat. Just recently, and Janak Dave's inputs day before yesterday, of a Gujarat police bust a crypto-enabled Canada-Gujarat drug racket. It's the most advanced emerging method of drug and terror financing. Transactions over networks like Tor, Freenet are absolutely untraceable. It affords anonymity to money launderers, cyber criminals, terrorists. Terror financing via cryptocurrency is a massive threat. And it's a vast grey market and underground economy that already exists. And many cybersecurity experts believe that you cannot transact in crypto unless you're on the dark net. So this whole facade of apps which are legal saying, there are experts who believe that this is just a facade to try and legalize cryptocurrency. But then that's just the interface. What's happening is that these transactions are happening on the dark net. Now the dark net forms bulk of the internet too. And these are transactions which we don't know. But what if there is an agenda via cryptocurrency to destabilize an entire nation, to corrupt an entire society, to cause societal unrest? How do you then regulate this? Because if I don't know who A and B are, that's the question that we ask as we set up the debate tonight. Can a cryptic currency called cryptocurrency be regulated? Dr. Nishakant Ojha joining us this evening, cybersecurity and counterterrorism, West Asia and Middle East. He's an expert on that. Satvik Vishwanath, CEO and co-founder at UnoCoin, India's first cryptocurrency exchange, will also be joining us. And Gopal Krishna Agarwal, national spokesperson of the BJP, is also with us. Gopal Krishna ji is here with us. Dr. Nishakant Ojha is with us. We should have Satvik joining us at any moment now. Nishakant Ojha ji, they are trying to legalize or trying to form a policy around cryptocurrency, because the government has very clearly said we are not banning it. It's here to stay, and perhaps technology or perhaps a currency of the future. But can they regulate it? Are they aware? Does our system actually understands the depth, breadth, size of what is cryptocurrency. ये जंतु क्या है?
Anand, thank you for the opportunity. And since this is a hot topic which is revolving around everywhere, we are talking about the cryptocurrency and everything. लेकिन अगर हम इसके बेसिक्स में जाते हैं सबसे पहले, तो ये सबसे पहले पता करना जरूरी होता है ये क्रिप्टो करेंसी आया कहाँ से. Around 10 years back, it started populating into the market. And if you go through the dissection and do some kind of deep study in that, it was some kind of a NSA and Google team jointly hand together, and they initiated for some kind of a purpose to be get achieved, some kind of things which the intelligence they want to gather from the Silk Road. So that was the main agenda by which it was created. The device, this concept was created for the national security to enhance and to strengthen the national security because they were worried. आज के समय में आप रुपए को तो खर्च करते हैं तो रुपए को तो पकड़ सकते हैं. Correct. लेकिन अगर आप बिटकॉइंस को और वर्चुअल करेंसीज को खर्च करते हैं तो देयर इज नो ट्रेसेस, देयर इज नो आइडेंटिफिकेशन हु इज देयर इज नो ट्रैकिंग, देयर इज नो ट्रेलिंग, यू कैन नॉट फॉलो द ट्रेल एंड यू कैन नॉट फॉलो द आइडेंटिटीज. अगर आज के समय में हम देखते हैं, अगर एज ए बिकॉज आई एम लुकिंग आफ्टर द वेस्ट एशियन मिडिल ईस्ट काउंटर टेररिज्म, इफ यू सी सम ऑफ द थिंग्स व्हिच आर देयर इन द डार्क नेट, जो फंड वो रेज करते हैं, एंड दे स्पेशली आस्क कि भैया मेरे को बिटकॉइंस में चाहिए, पर्टिकुलर इस कॉइंस में चाहिए, और उसका स्लोगन क्या रहता है, फंड द इस्लामिक स्ट्रगल विदाउट लीविंग द ट्रेस, सदाकत अल जिहाद. व्हाट दे आर आस्किंग, व्हाट दे मेंट फॉर दिस काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स. ISIS का पूरा आज के समय में जितना भी उनका कैश रिजर्व है, दे आर बेसिकली ऑल आर इन बेसिकली इन द बिटकॉइंस. So what ISI is funding, अगर we came across certain cases where ISI ने बोला कि जो भी फंडिंग है, जो आपको पेमेंट हम करेंगे बिटकॉइंस के थ्रू करेंगे, वो बिटकॉइंस आपको वहाँ इंडिया में रिसीव होगा, इंडिया में रिसीव करने के बाद आप उसको जाके इन कैश करा सकते हैं दरियागंज और वॉट एवर इज द प्लेस. सो यू सी द सेंसिटिविटी वेयर वी आर गोइंग. एज ऑफ नाउ रेगुलेट करना बहुत बड़ी चीज नहीं है. रेगुलेट मैं बोलता हूँ कि इट्स अ गुड इनिशिएटिव बाय द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया, पर वो प्रॉपर्टी हमारी होनी चाहिए, उसको गवर्न करने के लिए एक रेगुलेटरी यूनिफॉर्म बॉडी बनानी चाहिए, उसकी आईपी हमारे पास होनी चाहिए, उसके जो ये माइनिंग एक्सचेंज है वो पूरे अंडर से आरबीआई के कंट्रोल में आना चाहिए. यू सी द ब्यूटी, कौन करता है? बिकॉज सी इट्स अ कॉन्सेप्ट, इट्स अ काइंड ऑफ वॉर. ये मेथड निकाला जाता है सारी चीजें के लिए, और यू नेवर नो. अगर आज के समय में आप स्टॉक एक्सचेंज में प्राइस बढ़ता है, यू से कई लोग यहाँ पर डिबेट करते हैं कि डिमांड एंड सप्लाई. व्हाट्स द डिमांड एंड सप्लाई? मैंने आनंद आपसे बात करी, मैंने बोला कि ठीक है आज शाम को हम क्रिप्टो करेंसी एक लॉन्च करते हैं, $1,500 से $2,000 लगता है. 2 हाई HSPC समय वो चाहिए, हाई स्पीड प्रोसेसिंग कंप्यूटर्स चाहिए. हम अपना खुद का एक सर्वर बनाएंगे, एक क्रिप्टो करेंसी कर दिया, अपने एजेंडा फुलफिल, उसके बाद डिमिनिश, वी आर वैनिश. हाउ यू कैन इंटरसेप्ट, हाउ यू कैन ट्रेस? मींस एजेंसीज आर अनएबल. आई मीन आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट हियर, इवन यूरोपियन यूनियन ने तो इसको पूरी तरह से बैन कर दिया है.
But there are other nations who have actually facilitated. Now, if you look at Tesla, Tesla is actually saying internationally you can buy with Bitcoin, you can buy a car with Bitcoin. There are nations, Venezuela, if I remember correctly, has now allowed Bitcoin transactions.
You should be very cautious you should be very sensitive when you are talking about the country soil. From where? Venezuela, you know what basically are done. So when we are talking about the national security of
they
our
marked
country,
it against petrol price. Yeah,
exactly.
Pegged it against petrol price. Yeah.
अब अगर एक तरह से हमें फ्री इकोनॉमी चाहिए और कोई हमारे पास ट्रैकिंग नहीं रहे, यू नो मेनी कंट्रीज आर देयर जो इस समय बबल इकोनॉमी पे चल रही है, एनीथिंग बस्ट होता है क्योंकि उन्होंने सारी चीजें फ्री कर रखी हैं. देयर इज नो नथिंग, यू कैन ब्रिंग वॉट एवर अमाउंट ऑफ मनी इज देयर एंड द थिंग्स आर देयर. बट यू सी ये 10 साल से चल रहा था ना, 10 साल से आज तक क्यों नहीं ये ज्यादा इतना पॉपुलर हुआ? ये कितने 1300 बिटकॉइंस हैं, और उसके बाद मिनी बिटकॉइंस तो कितने होंगे आई डोंट नो. कल हैकर देमसेल्फ क्रिएट, और वो आपको पता भी नहीं है. आपको तो वो पता है बिटकॉइंस और ये क्रिप्टो करेंसी विच आर देयर बेसिकली एंड विच आर ऑन द स्क्रीन. यू नो, आप वैलेट लेते हैं, वैलेट लेके आप आपको समझ में आता है कि जब आप बिटकॉइंस खरीदते हैं तो इतनी आसानी से बिटकॉइंस वो आपको एक्सेस देगा भी नहीं. वो पहले आपकी क्रेडेंशियल लेता है, जस्ट लाइक अ टॉर, डार्कनेट. वो he wants to understand whether you are from the law enforcement agency or you are doing some kind of intelligence, whether then when they are in consent, they have got created a trust on each other, only then they move forward. So this is the entire game.
No, but
Data-
no. But the game is also, see, everything. Then you would say, let's not trade in stock markets. I'm just playing the devil's advocate here. Everything is fraught with issues of misuse. It's not that hard money was not being laundered. There was money laundering going on. It's not that gold was not smuggled. It's not that there was some amount of corruption everywhere. Let me just bring in Satwik Vishwanath before I bring in Gopal Krishna Agarwal. Satwik, so you are the founder of one of the first cryptocurrency exchanges. So how would you address these concerns? Now, these are genuine concerns about security, threat, misuse, etc. Can this actually be fully regulated and monitored?
See, by looking, if we are talking about 100% regulation, including at the transaction level, I don't think it's possible at all. Okay, but the way we have to see this is, for example, like you're saying, the whatever issues that we're talking about existed even before the blockchain and Bitcoin technology is there. And just because Bitcoin technology is there, it is neither increasing it nor decreasing it. And why someone would use something like a Bitcoin to do the transaction for these kind of activities is just because it is simple, right? So at the end, as long as there
and
is
it's
an
untraceable
internet connection to the that is the second part of it. And so, but we also need to understand, okay, someone receives Bitcoin, okay, but then the receiver, what will they do with it, right? So there has to be more receivers from them to do some other work. It is just like not one transaction happened and the recipient receives the Bitcoin and then like everything is. So it's not like cash, right? Because cash can be instantly used for various things. So the main reason why someone would use Bitcoin is because it is like easy, right? So as long as the internet is there, how we can send the messages and receive the messages. The Bitcoin also transfers on the internet in a very similar manner. And at the end of the day, even internet is getting used for, on one side, good activities, and on the other side for bad activities. But if we see the percentage of how much data or how much of transaction, how much of messages, I believe the ones that are getting used for bad actors or bad activities are in kind of less than 0.02%. That's what I have heard about. And that is even less than the chances that someone would get hit on a bus, by a bus on the road. And that thing is like technically impossible to avoid. As long as the technology is there, the technology can only be of two types. One is only bad technology, or else there's a technology which is both good and bad. There is nothing called only good technology.
Correct.
So it just depends upon how we use it. And as we use it, what is the good amount of leverage that we'll be able to get from the technology. And what is this Bitcoin bringing to table is fast and free transactions from anywhere to anywhere on the internet, very similar to how we already have fast and free messaging from anywhere to anywhere on the world.
Correct. But the point is that this kind of, the amount of
now.
money that's moving around, now if this 6 billion of Indian currency, which is now currently stuck in Bitcoin or in cryptocurrency, not necessarily Bitcoin. There are other multiple cryptocurrencies which are digital currencies which are there. There is a difference also between the cryptocurrency and digital currency. So those, I'm not going to get into the technical aspects of it. But I'm just going to say this 6 billion, had it been there in the active market, had it been there floating around in the current economic system, the robust system, not the digital system, imagine the amount of money which has been moved away. It's like virtually creating a parallel economy where it's not coming back to help livelihoods, employment, etc. There is a serious issue. And how is it, Gopal Krishna Agarwal ji, that 6 billion rupees is already in this platform which is totally unregulated? Why is the government waking up to it now, when we've got more than 1 crore users?
Yeah, Anandji, I would like to mention one thing. The RBI governor has talked about so many concerns on the whole cryptocurrencies. And what he said, that there is no much debate on this whole issue among the people, regulator or government or media, etc. He said that there has to be a larger debate because people are not understanding the whole issue. Because at present, cryptocurrency, as you also say that so many people have already invested into it. There cannot be any banning of the whole cryptocurrency, because if you ban anything, illegal market, underground market, underhand market, black market, all these things develop. From here, the only way out is regulation. And regulation has to be done through Supreme Court has made it clear that you cannot regulate unless you legislate. So the government has to come out with a legislation, and therefore our government is moving towards regulation and for
No,
regulation
but
legislation.
my
No,
question,
but Anand,
Jay,
one more important point is, the thing is, those who are saying that it cannot be regulated, I don't agree with that. Issue is that you cannot control the prices because we are in a free market economy. We cannot say that this will be traded at this rate, particular thing. You can regulate who will invest. If who is investing, his whole KYC is there. He is well aware of the risk of these transactions. And there are exchanges which are giving the platform for trading. They can be regulated. If there is profit or loss, how it will be taxed and how money will be transferred. Can anybody transfer money to international market for purchase? These can be very well regulated.
but Mr. Agarwal, let me ask you this. If I'm transacting, and how do I know, and how will you know, and how will the platform know that the other person is actually sitting somewhere else in the world? Now, if you are saying that I cannot shift money or transfer or trade with somebody or exchange with somebody or buy or purchase with somebody abroad, and you're going to stop that, then you are not free. Then you are saying that this will be only for, and is it going to be for trading, or is it going to be for purchase and selling, or is it going to be trading and purchase and selling? Can I buy a car with bitcoins in India in the future once the legislation is out? How is it that there are these people who are importing drugs by paying in bitcoin and by air cargo it was coming in Gujarat? They've been doing it for a while. How is it that there are 6 billion rupees actually in this platform without it being regulated, and the government is saying, अब हम इस पर कानून बनाएंगे?
नहीं आनंद जी, यही तो confusion है. You can very well regulate. You are talking about a counterparty guarantee. The exchange, which if you are saying that whoever from India will invest into this thing, he needs the exchange has to keep this much money as margins. That will be a counterparty guarantee. Nobody can give a counterparty guarantee. But if you regulate an exchange or a platform, only those platforms can trade into it. It can have the...
No, my point is, sir, till the time it was not regulated and there is no rule for it, how are people continuing to transact and exchange? How are people, how is it already enabled in our financial system that somebody can change their physical money or convert their money from their bank account into a platform and then go ahead and trade in Bitcoin or in any other platform, not just Bitcoin, any other cryptocurrency? The first thing is that when you know that there are more than 1 crore users, you are watching all of this. The system is watching. When I say you, the government, the system, they're watching this is happening. You know there are more than 1 crore people who are involved. You know there is 6 billion rupees here. Now, how is this volume created without anybody waking up to this volume and saying, what is going on? Over 10 years.
No, the thing is, this is a completely new technology, new area. And India has a lot of potential and capacity, ecosystem capability into the fintech technologies. Blockchain is what we are trying to promote in India.
Correct.
There is a full group of ministries and departments.
Yeah, but this is for 10 years, Gopal Krishna Agarwal ji. 10 years this has been going on. The first track of Bitcoin was more than even before 2008, 2009. And at that time, they couldn't buy even a pizza with 1 Bitcoin. और आज एक बिटकॉइन 50 लाख रुपए पे है. And we are saying in our system that now we will think about what to do. There is a slowness.
Okay.
Yes, Sati.
I tell you one thing. There has to be a differentiation between the asset class. Some people are still saying that we should consider it as an asset class. If you and you cannot consider any instrument as an asset class which has no underlying asset value. What is the intrinsic value in a Bitcoin or any cryptocurrencies? There is no. So these will promote clearly speculative element. I understand financial market very clearly. You have to understand that if a 2,000 rupee note, you say that it can have any value other than 2,000 rupees in India, then there will be speculation. I'll say. So ultimately you have to fix a value. And
Correct, but here you can't because it is
into,
market forces or it is individuals, people who are fixing the value.
You have it into getting into an asset class. I am saying this to many people. The people who are saying that we should consider it an asset class, then it becomes a quite complicated issue.
Right.
That you cannot consider an instrument which has
Sir,
no
my
intrinsic
point is,
value
sir, my
of
point is, sir,
underlying.
the system is waking up 10 years later. That's what I'm trying to say. The system is waking up, say,
it
5
can
years,
now
6
be
years, 7 years
regulated.
later. Then one should not be allowed if there is no... Satvik Vishwanath, final word. I've got 30 seconds. Yes.
See, at the end, the technology comes first. Then we have bad actors and good actors using it. And then eventually we will have the identification of the bad things, and that kind of leads to regulation. Okay.
Right.
So as of today, apart from 2 or 3 countries, rest of the 200 and odd countries have not regulated, and everyone is watching to see how this entire technology evolves, and that is what India is doing as well.
Right.
I believe India is actually comparatively much forward in thinking about the technology, because India is one of the highly regulated countries.
Right.
So I don't think we are kind of lagging behind.
Right.
It will take its time, and it is doing it, yeah.
Right. So let's hope that we have a rule or a regulation in place to monitor at least and understand what this is so far. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us on this debate. The issue of cryptocurrency is going to be talked about in the days to come, and we'll continue to track it. Winding up the right stand on that note, brass tacks up next. Stay with us.